Hi folks, welcome to another Buckmasters Uncut video hunt. And the cool thing about this whole series right here, I'm able to talk a little bit about what happened behind the scenes, you know, that you might not have seen on the TV show.
When I saw him run off, it looked like a low exit wound, a little bit back, so we're going to go back and take a look at it on the computer, but we're going to give him some time, no question.
And you know, we're going to one of our favorite places hunting, eastern Montana, and it's about the coolest place to bow hunt that you can really do it, you know, the traditional way. Food source, you know, coming back to the bedding area, just the pinch points, wind direction, approach, everything.
Holy crap. That 8 point. That's a 9 or 10 point. That's a 10.
I love to hunt the early bow season there in Montana. You know, those old cottonwood leaves are starting to change. It's just the smell of the woods. And each year you go out to scout, they change the trails. They're still coming back from the same food source in the same location, but their entrance into the fields and the exit out of the fields are a little different. So that's the pre-scouting you got to do before you start tackling them. Now the wind, very critical here. And this property is basically set up for south, southeast, or west winds in the morning and flipping to the north in the afternoons. And when you have the opposite, it really makes it tough for us to hunt. We only have a few setups for the north in the morning, so you can't hunt a bunch of people. So, and we just don't want to push the envelope there. As I said, you know, the worst thing you can do is bump these deer. We want these deer don't even know we're here.
What do you think? Young bucks, look like 3-year-olds. I'm gonna kick myself for passing.
On this particular hunt, we tried to hunt a little bit closer to the food source, but it seemed like they were coming off the fields a little earlier, and that's kind of what we do. We start up front, and if they stay up, we can get them in their pinch points on the front part of the property. But if they start moving back early, then we go as close to the bedding area as we can and see if that works for us. And we were hunting in the mornings here back in a stand we called Tim's, and it was a ditch and there was a little flat in front of us which had 2 more, you know, tree stands set up. So we picked Tim's this particular morning, and you know, there's 2 trails right in front of me, 18, 19 yards. And if they walk our side of the ditch, it is a perfect setup. But if they're walking on the other side of the ditch, they're walking in front of another stand that we have. So we're kind of rolling the bones on which stand we're going to go to. So we picked Tim's this morning, and nothing's coming kind of toward us, but they are across the flat right there. And we were seeing some deer, and one really nice 8-pointer. And I went, wow, that's the deer we want to stay after. If we stay on him, that's going to be a great bow buck. If you see a particular deer and you get locked in on him, you kind of get competitive, and you know, you want to try to hunt that deer. As long as we're not burgering him up with the wind and he's just coming through, going to bed back and forth, it's just a matter of time. You know, if we've got him kind of pinched in within 100 yards, can we get him pinched in to 30 yards? And that's the cool part about it. But you know, a lot of times it doesn't work, but a lot of times it does.
All right, folks, last morning here in Montana, we have worked extremely hard. We keep seeing these 2-shooter bucks. We just can't close the distance. You know, we had the buck came out last night, same buck, but came out at dark, so we come right back in here where it was last night. We've kind of got a southwest wind now. We approached out of the east over here, but it's supposed to switch to the northeast, so we got trails below us that could come
And we stayed after him, and we were coming down to, you know, the last days of the hunt. It was like 9:30 or so. Hadn't seen much coming through, and I just looked behind me. There's a deer coming behind me walking the ditch.
That was him. I couldn't tell. I thought it was there if it's anything a little low. Man, he got in there quick and he was quartering to me. Finally came by that bush right there, so that's the only shot I had. We've been on that deer all week. All week. He finally showed up. Oh, Lord. Well, he's a big body deer. He's got big beams on him. He's an 8. We know that because we've seen him 4 or 5 times. But we have worked our butt off this week. I don't think I've ever been on a deer that many times. And just couldn't close the deal, so he was kind of coming in the back door right there. He kind of came out that way last night, but it's dark, so keep your fingers crossed we might have a good shot. That's all we can do.
You know, that's one thing about it. When I get locked in on a deer and I see shooter, I don't look at the rack anymore. I'm just going straight for the vitals. I'm making sure I can see the vitals and I can make my shot. So, you know, I'm sitting there and all of a sudden I look behind me. I thought that was a big 8. So I already locked in and said, I'm going to shoot. So I'm getting ready and I'm making my shot. It was only when I walked up on that deer, I said, ooh, that's not the big 8, but I tell you what, he's a stud. Yes, sir, he's down. He is down. Check this out, folks. Man, oh man. Check out this last morning Montana whitetail. Awesome. Look at the beams on him. Look at the body size on him. Well, we went back to the cabin just to make sure it was a good shot. It was a good shot. And we came right back out. It's getting a little warm, so we want to make sure we get him to the cooler right there. Get him cleaned up. But what another great week here in Montana hunting with my buddy Joe Maxfield Matthews. I just can't get enough of this bow hunt. Pretty cool. Check him out. I thought it was the big 8 that I was after. It wasn't, because he had a little bitty point to make him a 9 point. But one thing about that old big 8 right there, he came back next year, and I'll tease you a little bit. He had a bad day, but that's going to be on another Buckmasters Uncut. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. We have a lot of fun doing these things. If this is the first time in, push the subscribe button and tell all your buddies to follow us on social media. We're having a lot of fun with Buckmasters Uncut. Come back and we'll have another video coming soon.